Welcome, guys. Tony Porter, Tabletop Baseball Digest. And here we are with a 1974 replay game. We are towards the end of May, I believe. This is a 5-team replay of the 1974 season. I have the Rangers and the Yankees, the Mets, the Angels, and one more team that I'm replaying, the Athletics. That's it. I think I started with 4 and then I added the Athletics because I thought it would be fun, and I was right. So I get to play most teams in both leagues, but particularly in the American League, teams that I don't play very often, and I think the Tigers is one of those teams that I don't play very often. So we're going to get started, and let me read out quickly the lineups. So for the visiting Tigers, it's going to be Stanley, Sutherland, and Kaline. Horton, Freehan, and Sharon. And then it's Cash, Rodriguez, and Brinkman. I lost the Brinkman card for a while, couldn't find it. Now, Detroit is in 6th place. They're 11-33. They don't have a very good team. The Athletics are in 1st place, 28-18. Al Dark is the manager. North, Campaneris, Bando. Jackson, Johnson, Tennis. And that's Deron Johnson. I think it's Deron Johnson. And then Mangual, Summers, and Kubiak. You get all the players with Fall Classic Baseball. Pick up a PDF for $20. It's got about 100 seasons available. Most seasons are there. So there's been a lot of work put into creating, seasons and teams and players for this game. So Kenny Holtzman is on the mound for the Athletics. He's 4-6 so far this season. Mickey Stanley is the pitcher, is the batter, and Mickey Stanley in the replay batting 192, 172 at bats. So not having a good season. And Kenny Holtzman, 3.96 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. His actual WHIP was 1.27. And let's start. All right, here goes. I'm using Replay Baseball as a helper to keep all my stats and stuff. All right, we're gonna roll 3 dice. We read the blue D6 and the white D6. So that's a 63. That's on Stanley's card. It's a blank, so it sends it over to the pitcher card. And the 7 tells us it's a fly ball, left field. Under it is Summers. Champ Summers is in left field. And he makes a catch. All right, here's Gary Sutherland. Steps the box. A pitch from Holtzman with a 61, and that will be a swing and a miss at the curveball. The curveball. All right, and it's Al Kaline. Al Kaline, he hit 13 home runs, and so he's in the twilight of his career. Batted .260. 28 doubles, though. 13 home runs, so he's still hitting the ball hard. It's just not going over the fence as much anymore. Here's the pitch from Holtzman, and that's 16, which will be a bouncer to the shortstop. Campaneris on the money to Johnson at first, and that retires the side. So easy inning for Kenny Holtzman. And on the mound for the Tigers is going to be the right-hander Laron LeGros. Yes, sirree. Laron LeGros. As we Bill North leading off. And the pitch from LeGros. A 23 is going to be a check swing, and they check with the third base umpire, and he rings him up. And North not happy about that at all. LeGros, how did he do? 1.5 WHIP. 8 wins and almost 20 losses. He just missed 20 losses by 1. He was 8-19. So the Tigers, I'm feeling that they're cellar dwellers in 74. And that's going to be a 41, which is most commonly a walk, and it is. Base on balls, and Campaneris takes first base. Always a threat to steal, but it won't be running this time around. Now I do use the automatic steal rating. Unless it's for a pinch runner, then I can run on my own. Alright, here's Bando with a runner on first and 1 out. Pitch to Bando, snake eyes, and that's going to be ball 4. So back-to-back walks. So LeGros is struggling finding the plate. Laren LeGros. Interesting name. Reggie, almost like a cartoon name, right? Reggie Jackson now. Always dangerous Reggie Jackson with 29 home runs and a 290 batting average, almost 100 walks, and 100 strikeouts, which isn't a lot. If you compare it to guys today who are striking out 200 times in the same number of bats. So he was actually a contact hitter. Yeah, Laren LeGros gets the sign. Looks over Campaneris. Got a good lead at second base. Bando at first. And here's the pitch. And a 63, which will be a fly ball to right. And this will allow Campaneris to move. You tag up. So a fly ball to right will move Campaneris. Now Bando, yeah. It's going to stay at first. And that will be 2 outs. First and third now. So Jackson drives one down the line to right field. Sharon is there. And it's Darren Johnson. 200 at bats, 7 home runs, 195 average. The pitch from LeGros, and that's a 45, which will be a bouncer to second base. Sutherland scoops it up, throws over to first, and that retires the side. So they'll leave a couple men on. And we move to top of the second inning. Fall Classic Baseball. Check it out. Here is Holtzman. Now Holtzman has his B column, and LeGros had his A column. All right, Willie Horton steps to the box. Now Horton had 15 home runs and 200 at bats, so he's got good power. Just, I guess he suffered from injuries. Almost batted 300, 298. Here's the pitch from Holtzman. It's a 24, and that's a hit by pitch 1-8. This is interesting because it's a 1-8. I rolled a 5, then it's a -2 on Holtzman, which brings the 8 down to a 6, but the 5 is still less than 6, so it's a hit by pitch. So he gets plunked, takes first base, and next up is Freehan. Freehan's a top quality hit and run guy, but I'm not hitting and running with Horton, because Horton does not steal bases, so we're not doing that. So here's the pitch from Holtzman, and that's a 46. Now 46 is the ballpark card. Anytime you see that 46, it'll say ballpark on the batter. So you grab the ballpark card. We got the Oakland. And Oakland has a lot of foul out territory, right? We know that. And that 9 is going to tell us we're going to look at 9. It's going to be a pop-up in foul territory. And he's a righty, so it's going to go to the first baseman on the right side. And that's out number 1. Dick Sharon is up. I believe the only other way to pronounce that name is Sharon, and I don't think that's how he pronounces his name. All right, here's the pitch. Horton's at first, 24. This is going to be a tapper right back to Holtzman. He's going to go to Campaneris at second. The throw to first, not in time. So Sharon hustling down the line prevents the double play. And it's going to be Ron Cash. 60 at bats, 14 hits, batted .226, no home runs. Here's the pitch, and that's a 34, which will be a grounder up the middle and through into center field. A 16 will send Sharon to. Hold on a second. What I roll on that 16 on the red die is one base. He will pull up at second base. All right, here's Aurelio Rodriguez, known for his defense, and I remember him as a defensive third baseman. Never really hit for a lot of power, for a lot of average. Batted .222 with 5 home runs in that season. Here is the pitch from Holtzman. He's ready, sets and deals, and that's a 62. 2 with a ground ball to the second baseman, Kubiak. And he throws over, sidearms it to first, and that retires the side. We go to the bottom of the second. In the bottom of the second, it will be Tennis, Mangual, and Summers, Champ Summers. Bottom of the second inning. Let's do it. Lerrin LeGros winds and deals to Tennis, and that's a 13. And that will be a high fly center field, Mickey Stanley. He's there. And he makes the catch. Next up, Angel Mangual. Pitch from LeGros, 35. And that will be 1-16 a single. We roll a 13, so that's a check swing. Little blooper. That's over the head of Brinkman. And that's going to be a base hit. It will look like a line drive in the box score. Just a little dunker, a little blooper that kind of just made it over the glove of Brinkman in left center field and drops in front of Horton and Stanley. Here's Champ Summers, who had 24 at-bats, only 3 hits, 1 double, 125 batting average. Not a good bunter, and here's pitch. 62 will be a line drive to the pitcher, and this opens up the possibility for a double play. And he throws the first, and not in time. 12, 13, 2, and 3 would have been. All right. So, tries to get Mangual at first, but Mangual sneaks in there. So it is a line out to the pitcher, to LeGros. He acted quickly, but just not quick enough. Mangual, an astute base runner, avoided being doubled off first base here. Ted Kubiak. Kubiak, switch hitter. He's a versatile guy, plays all the infield positions, and plays second base particularly well with a 14 range and only 1 error. Third base not so well with a 1 range and 11 error. All right. So range higher is better on the range, lower is better on the errors, and all based on D20. So here is the pitch to Kubiak. That's a 53, which is a range play. So I pull a card to see who the range play is to. I look under 53 on the card. It says the shortstop. So the shortstop, Brinkman, and I don't know what kind of, I don't know, this season Brinkman was a decent shortstop at 11. So this first roll is a DK, it's a KD. And the KD here is 1-3. That's a 13. It doesn't apply, so there's no strikeout. So now we're going to roll. The second roll is going to be for that range. So we want to get it 11 or less for the out, and it is a 4. So he makes a diving play in the hole, gets up, throws the first in the dirt, and scooped out by Ron Cash to end the inning. Great play, highlight reel play for Ted Kubiak. All right, Kenny Holtzman taking his warm-up throws on the mound. It's going to be facing Ed Brinkman, whose card I lost for a long time. I don't know where it was. And he's ready and winds and deals to Brinkman. And it's going to be a 32, which is a drive in the gap. And that is going to get to the wall. So digging for second is Brinkman ahead of the throw, standing up with a double. Leadoff double for the light-hitting Brinkman. 221 with 15 doubles. Gets a double here off Holtzman, who gives up a lot of doubles. Oh, actually, Holtzman has a double on his card. Here's Mickey Stanley. Pitch from Holtzman, sets and deals, 32, and a 32 will be, that's back-to-back 32s, and that's going to be down the line into the left field corner, and that is a fair ball. Summers plays the carom, coming around to score is Brinkman, and going into second base ahead of the throw is Mickey Stanley. So back-to-back doubles. So the underdog Tigers are leading 1-0 here in the top of the third inning. 1974. Gary Sutherland is next. Now, Gary Sutherland's an excellent bunter. And you know what? With nobody out, he's going to square. And that is going to be a good bunt back to the pitcher. And there's only one way to go with it. And that's the first. So we got a runner on third now. And hit one. And runner advances. I usually don't bunt. That's probably first time ever I've bunted with a runner on second base. But trying to get some runs for Detroit, because I'm I question their offense. Probably not very good. Here's K-line. And the A's are going to just allow the run to score. And they're not worried about that. 23 will be a swing and a miss and a low slider, outside slider, low and away, gets the righty K-line chasing. That's one of those DeGrom pitches. Looks like a fastball, and then all of a sudden at the end just kind of pulls to the outside away from the right-hander. Here's Willie Horton now with 2 outs, 1 on. Tigers lead it 1-0. Holtzman sets and deals. And that's a 46. That's a ballpark with an 11, and that's going to fall into the pop-up. Right side, foul territory near the stands, and that retires the side. All right, here we go. Laren LeGros on the mound for the 1974 Detroit Tigers. The Tigers in 74. Let's see. Let me look at their ballpark card, and they'll tell me their season win-loss record. They were 72-90 under Ralph Houck. Wow. All right. They went from a team in the playoffs to a team in the cellar. Bill North, switch hitter, batting from the left side against the righty LeGros. Here's pitch, and that's a 31, which is a range play. And who's it going to be to? And with that, too, is probably going to be an amazing catch out there. It's going to be to the first baseman, Ron Cash. Ooh, I don't know what Ron Cash has in terms of. Ron Cash is a first baseman of a 10, and he will make backing up into shallow right field on the outfield grass, and he trips and still holds on to the ball. Great catch. Stayed with it the whole way. Ron Cash comes up huge here and robs Bill North of a hit. Now, that's a mod I made to the game just to add a little bit more defense. It's about a 50-50 thing, obviously. And it will be a pop-up to the first baseman. All right, and here is Bert Campaneris. Steps in the box, bats from the right side. Here's the pitch, and that is a 65. It's a -10 home run. He's not a home run hitter. Only hit 2. -10, that's a 9. So we're going to just use that 13. It's going to be bounce out to short. And throws in time to first base. Just gets Campaneris by half a step. Bando with a 35 and a 1, and that is going to be a ground ball through the left side into left field for a single for Bando. Second hit for the hometown Athletics. So Bando's on at first, and next up Reggie Jackson. And LeGros sets, gets the sign from Freehand. He's ready. Bando with his lead at first, and that's going to be a 35, which will be a base hit, and the 16 will force Bando to stop at second base. So Jackson lines one to right center field, played by Stanley, gets it into Sutherland, and Bando stops at second base. Darren Johnson now. Darren Johnson, like I said, 7 home runs, and he would a full season would have given him about 23 home runs, so he does have some power. 3-run homer here would be welcomed by the Athletics. Bottom of the third, the Athletics trail 1-0 to the lowly Detroit Tigers, 74 Detroit Tigers. That's going to be a 42, and that 42 is going to be a high fly. Center field, back goes Brinkman and Sutherland, and in comes Stanley, and Stanley calls for it for out number 3. We go to the top of the 4th. All right, top of the 4th. Check out my channel, like and subscribe, and remember that get a lot of information from my channel. I got a couple of things happening. I got the 75 World Series. I got the 2024 World Series of Fall Classic, but the 75 World Series with Deep Drive. And also I got the 1987 Mets with Field Day. I'm playing the 76 Yankees with long ball. I'm having some issues with that for several reasons. I'm playing the 73 World Series with time travel. and the 2001 World Series with Back to Basics. So I got a lot of things going on the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe. And that's a drive to left center field by off the bat of Freehan. Hit it well. And North on the run, and he turns up the jets and makes the catch with an outstretched glove at the last minute. North catches it deep in left center field, almost at the track, and that takes at least a double away from Freehan. All right, Sharon is up. Kenny Holtzman gets the sign, winds and deals with a 53. That is going to be a range check. That first roll won't fall into the KD. KD is 1-2. It's going to be a shortstop. And I think Campaneris, what did we say Campaneris was? I don't think we did. Campaneris' short is a 12, so 12 or less. Let's roll that D20. And he makes a diving catch. What a play. Gets back up on his feet and throws him out at first. So takes a high hop, and Campaneris goes down, gets up quickly, and fires a strike to Johnson at first for out number 2. Here's Ron Cash. 14 for 62, 2 doubles, 226 average. Pitch from Holtzman, 35, and that will be a high fly left field. Summers under it, squeezes it, and that retires the side. Go to the bottom of the 4th. So pretty good game so far. 1-0 here in the bottom of the 4th. Gene Tenace, the pitch, and that is a 61. 1-6 is a strikeout. 11 is a tapper right back to Legros. Over to first, 1 away. Mangual now. He swings, and that's a 52. That's a error check on the right fielder. And that's a KD. The first one's a KD. The second one's a 7. So the right fielder is Sharon. I don't know what Sharon's got out there. Let's look at the error on Sharon. Didn't play a lot, so you can either have it very high or very low. And he's gonna hit the ball, hits off his glove and drops to the ground. And it will be, what did the card say? One base error, I believe. It is a 1 base error. Yes, it is. Oh no, it's a 2 base error. Going to second is Mangual to throw to second base, and he is safe. So it will be a 2 base error on the right fielder. So the tying run is in scoring position with 1 out, and up comes Champ Summers. And Legros gets the sign, looks over at Mangual. He's ready, sets and deals. And this is a 25, which against our righty, actually Champ Summers is good on his splits against righties. He lines a base hit. And the 3 will bring, yes it does, it brings Mangual home, so the game is tied 1-1 on a clutch hit by Champ Summers here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And that's a splits result, so if you live for splits, there's your splits. Some guys have better splits than others. Sometimes a home run come in splits, sometimes it's singles come in splits. All right, Ted Kubiak. And the pitch, and he swings, and it's a fly ball left center field. Horton and Stanley come together, and it's Horton who calls him off, makes the catch, and here's Billy North. Pitch from Legros, and a 42 will be a high fly right field down the line. Sharon running on his horse, and he makes the catch in right field for out number 3. That retires the side, but the A's tie it up. We go to the top of the 5th. Kenny Holtzman takes his warm-up throws. Kenny Holtzman was 19-17 with a 1.2 whip. Not a bad season for Kenny Holtzman. The Athletics did make it to the World Series, and they won the World Series against the Dodgers. Here's the pitch to Aurelio Rodriguez, a 26, and that's his splits. A lefty. He will get a little blooper that drops in. So he is on at first with a single. And it's Eddie Brinkman, who is a good bunter, so he will square, and it is right in front of the plate. Tenace pounces on it. He's got 1 play. That's the first. And we go to Mickey Stanley with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. Kenny Holtzman gets the sign, looks over at Rodriguez, keeping him close at second base. And here's the pitch, and that is a 62, which will be a ground ball to third baseman Bando. And he looks over at Rodriguez at second, keeping him there. So it's going to be a G5-3 if you're scoring at home, which you should be. Otherwise, I'll have to pay you a visit. Sutherland. Gary Sutherland. Gary Sutherland is a .254 hitter, 5 home runs. Played the whole season, 149 games. Bats from the right side. 20 doubles, 1 triple, 5 home runs. And that's 25, which will be a bouncer to the first baseman. Johnson scoops it up, steps on the bag right ahead of Sutherland, and that ends the inning. We go to the bottom of the 5th now. Bottom of the 5th, Larin LeGros versus Kenny Holtzman. Tigers versus A's here at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum, which is no longer the home for the A's, which is sad because that was a fun stadium. Love that stadium. It was very retro and brought you great memories of the 72, 73, 74 World Series. All right, Bert Campaneris. That's for old people. All right, young people don't remember that kind of stuff. Let's say error check with a 52. The KD fails because the KD is 1-3. So on a 52, it's the right fielder Sharon again, who just made a 2-base error. He's a 7. I remember that from before, and this one he's going to catch. Bobbles it a second, but holds on to it. So he's having his troubles out there in right field. So Campaneris flies out to right, and it's Sal Bando. Pitch. Bando hit 22 home runs and 500 at bats. That's a 35 and a 35, 1-16 single, and that's a 6. So it's a base hit, hard ground ball, and through the hole. So Bando's on at first. Reggie Jackson, always a threat to knock one out of the ballpark. And LeGros better proceed with caution. And here's the pitch from LeGros, and that's going to be a 23. A swing and a miss. Fastball gets Jackson. Corkscrews into the ground. That classic Jackson swing. Here is Darren Johnson now, right-handed hitter. Bando's still at first. LeGros looks over. He's ready. Sets and deal. And it's a 34, which will be a ground ball up the middle and through, and going to third base. Fast. Bando is fast, so he will go to third base. Yes, he will. First and third now. He was on the move with 2 outs, and on contact, he made it to third base easily. Here is Gene Tenace. Gene Tenace is an interesting guy. Hit 26 home runs, and but walked 110 times. Holy smokes! Only batted .211, but he had an exceptional on-base percentage. All right, here's Gene Tenace, and that's a 33, which will be ball 4. So his card is full of walks because he had 102 hits but 110 walks. Interesting guy. So he's going to have more walks on his card than hits. He walks, and the bases are now loaded. You got Tenace at first, Darren Johnson at second, Bando at third. There are 2 outs, and it's all on the shoulders of Angel Mangual. No pressure now. It's a tie game here in the bottom of the 5th inning. It's 1-6-0 for the hometown A's, and it's a 1-4-1 for the Detroit Tigers. So Mangual is ready, and LeGros gets the sign, and he sets and deals, and that is going to be a 46 ballpark card with a 20. Takes us to the wildest section. So this is like a rare play type of result. So let me we got a lot of stuff here. All right, so we're going to look at the wildest section. 54 chart wildest section. Let me pull this out of the binder with the bases loaded. And then we're going to have to roll that D20, actually, I believe. All right, so bases loaded, wildest. Here it is. Bases full, they call it. Bases full, wildest chart. So we're going to roll that D20. See what happens. It's a 5. Foul pop-up to catcher who makes a driving grab near the dugout. Runners, tags, and scores as no one is covering the plate. Except an S runner, Bando is not, who tries to score, but catcher recovers in time and tags him out in a race to the plate. Only if catcher's run, not arm rating, is F or A. That does not apply because the third base runner is Bando and he's fast. And those ratings are not speed. Those ratings are ability to take the extra base. Those are more smarts than speed. And the A's do take the lead. That's the third out, actually. So that's the third out. So then there's no scoring on that one. It's a foul pop-up who makes the grab near the dugout. All right, so all that is canceled out. And that is the third out. 1-1, top of the sixth. It is the Tigers versus the Athletics. Remember to like and subscribe my channel. This is your host, Tony Porter, having some tabletop baseball dice fun early in Saturday morning, Martin Luther King weekend. And Kaline, Al Kaline, right-handed hitter, swings, and that's going to be a 43, which is a hard hit ball to center field north, is right there for out number one. Next up, Willie Horton, Holtzman, winds and deals. And a 63, which will be a tapper to the first baseman, Johnson, who flips to Holtzman, covering right ahead of Horton, who does not run well, but showed some hustle there. And he's still athletic, despite his age. How old is he? He is, he's only 31 years old. Yeah, because I remember him in the late 70s. He was still around, so in the late 70s, he was 5 years after this. He was 31, 37, so he's still young here in 74. Freehand, nobody on, 2 outs. Pitch from Holtzman, 36, and that will be bouncer to the third baseman, Bando. Up with it, fires the first, high throw, but nice stretch by Johnson. That retires the side. Easy 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the sixth inning, tied at 1. Who will win? That should be the question you're asking yourself. Will these lowly last place Detroit Tigers upset the world champs here? Champ Summers leads off. So the world champs are suffering from some injuries. I've noticed that because of they've had some injuries to several different players. Bandos was out for a long time, 36. It's a bouncer to third baseman. Rodriguez, who scoops it up, fires the first in time for out number 1. Kubiak is next. Switch hitter. LeGros with the pitch, a 16, will be a tapper right back to LeGros. He picks it up, goes to first. And Bill North, 65. That's a -7. Not a home run hitter. Only had 4. That's a pitcher home run. And it's 1-9. So a 2, the -7 and the 1-9 on the pitcher card. So it's a -7 on the batter. It's a 9 on the pitcher. So that's a 2. Brings it down to a 2. And we roll the 4 close. So that's a deep drive to right. And Sharon to the track and hauls it in. So he gave it a ride. It just did not carry out. Wind must be blowing in. And you can hit a home run off the batter card and get doubles off the bat. I'm sorry, ballpark card, excuse me. Holtzman with his warm-up pitches, and Dick Sharon. Pitch from Holtzman, 45. And that is a fly ball, left field. Summers in, few steps, 1 away. Ron Cash. Good base runner, Ron Cash. Just needs to get on base. He swings and misses at a curveball, and he goes down on strikes, 2 away. Top of the 7th, 1-1. And Aurelio Rodriguez with a 13, and that'll be bounced to the third baseman, Bando, who charges it, fires the first in time to retire the side. So easy inning for Holtzman. 1-2-3. 1-2-3. Laren LeGros against Bert Campaneris, and then it'll be Bando and Jackson. So this is an exciting part of the lineup. And that's going to be a 66, which is going to be a drive down the line into the corner. That's a fair ball, and digging for it is Horton. Plays the carom. Stanley backs up, but Horton's got it. Throws into second base, but Campaneris slides in before. Not even close at second base. And according to my helper, LeGros reached his limit. But according to the game, so I'm one that pushes pitchers a couple extra, batters. I keep the realism going, but I do encourage pitchers to go a little deeper. That's the type of ball that I like. So he is becoming fatigued, by one by my helper. My helper keeps track of innings pitched throughout the season. The game itself says that LeGros can go 32 batters faced. LeGros is at 29, so he has like 3 more batters without being fatigued by the game that I'm playing. What I feel replay does is tracks the innings so far this season, and he keeps a balance. So the last 2 starts of the season, he doesn't get tired after 2 innings pitched because he's pitched so much in the early part of the season. So this alerts me, so I have to respect the alert. But at the same time, when I notice it's just, I weigh other things, other factors. How's my bullpen doing? That's one factor that I weigh. If I have a lot of guys who are tired in the bullpen, that's one thing. If I have a lot of guys available in the bullpen, that's another thing. So you do make those manager decisions. I actually have 4 relief pitchers that are available to me in the bullpen now. These guys are, from what I see, are using a 4-man rotation. Fryman, Lolich, Coleman, and they have a lot of innings. All these guys, they got 3 guys with 300 innings pitched. Well, LeGros had 215. But you have Lolich with 308, you have Coleman with 285, and then you have Fryman with 141, and then you have a spot starter named Walker, who had 4. That's what I got on here so far. So I don't know. That changes with the rosters. All right, so Bando's up. Campaneris is at second. Bottom of the 7th inning stretch, and remember to get that brewski before they close down those concessions. So what we're going to do here, with nobody out, to prevent a bigger inning, we are going to walk Bando. And you know what? I'm not going to walk Bando. I'm going to pitch to Bando and then walk the lefty. So let's not walk Bando and pitch to Bando. Let's do that. And LeGros looks over at Campaneris, and Brinkman faking behind him, and Sutherland now doing the same to keep Campaneris close. And Bando's at the plate, right-handed hitter. Here's the pitch, and that's going to be a 45 with a 7. That's a fly ball left field, and that's going to be shallow left. Horton is there, and that is out number 1. Now we're going to walk Reggie and pitch to Darren Johnson, hoping for that double play. And Johnson does hit into a lot of double plays. So LeGros is ready, and he sets and deals. And that is going to be a 64. Will we get what we want? No, it's a fly ball, center field. Mickey Stanley over under it and squeezes it for out number 2. We're almost out of trouble, but here comes Mr. Base on Balls, Gene Tenace. It's all tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 7th. And 2 outs, 2 on for Laren LeGros. We're going to get him to see if he can get through this inning. And that is, he will get through the inning, and that's a swing and a miss at the curve. Get some. Big pitch by Laren LeGros. And of course, no celebrating back in 74, but you know he's excited inside. They didn't show it. They were very stoic back then. No celebrating for striking out guys and yelling and fist pumping and all that back then. That's a thing, a today thing. That's fine. Every generation has its thing. And anyway, Ed Brinkman, what can you do? Ed Brinkman at the plate against Holtzman. It's all tied at 1, top of the 8th. Let's do it. Stay with the starting lineups. And that's a 66, and a 1-6 is a home run. A 7-17 is a double, and that's going to be a drive in the gap. That's going to be 1 hop to the wall. Brinkman digging for second base. Here's a throw from North. Not in time. And that's a leadoff double for Ed Brinkman. Holy smokes. 220 hitter. Mickey Stanley now, and he will swing away. Like I said, I think that's the first time I ever bunted with a runner on second. I just don't bunt with runners on second base. And Mickey, I just don't think it's good baseball. Here's Mickey Stanley. And some managers disagree, but that's a 25, and that'll be a bouncer to the shortstop. A 13. And runner on otherwise fielder's choice. Runners advance. Okay, shortstop to grounder. Grounder to shortstop. in order second base to first, but only if second base has S arm. Otherwise, fielder's choice. All right, so there's nobody at first, so it's going to be and runners will advance on this. So it's a little chopper that Campaneris has to charge. Brinkman will go to third, and out at first is Mickey Stanley. So now there's one out, and you got to watch out for the bunt here for the squeeze. Although in some games I squeeze, in this game I've never used that tactic, that strategy. But Sutherland is a good bunter. Well, I don't even know the rules for squeeze for this game, believe it or not. I don't think I've ever done that with this game. With in inside pitch, I do it a lot. It's easy to do. A squeeze, roll one die, lay it down. 2, if the batter gets the bunt down, runner on third scores unless the roll is a 6, which is the case it's popped up and the runner is out at third. Scored as a double play. So we're going to try to squeeze here with Sutherland, and he is a 5. So it depends who he hits it to. We'll see what happens here. He said, I have to read up on that, because that little card it just gives me the quick summary. Bunting. Let's see the squeeze play. Okay. Reduce the SH rating by 2. That's what I was thinking. So he would go from a 5 to a 3, and it further gets reduced depending who he hits it to. If that guy has a strong arm, then it gets reduced by another 1, or it gets increased by 1 depending if he has a weak arm. Let's look at the infield for the A's. At third base, Campaneris has an average arm. Bando has an average arm. That's the well. It wouldn't go to Campaneris. It would only go to Bando. How about the pitcher? Holtzman has an average arm. Okay, so and then what is the result of that bunt? So if batter misses the ball on the first roll, runner out at home. Oh. Okay. So that means if it's a 4, 5, or 6, he's out at home. Yeah, I'm gonna swing away. Went out. Fly ball or grounder will get him to score. Here goes. Gary Sutherland against Kenny Holtzman. Infield is in. Pitch, and that is a 14, which will be a ground ball to the shortstop. Now, with that 16, this is a mod. 1, 2, 3. He holds 4, 5, 6. He scores on a single. So let's do this. You know what? Let's modify it even further. So on a 1, he's thrown out at home. On a 6, he's safe at home on a fielder's choice. And we got a 4. So it's a base hit past the diving Bando, who is playing in on the grass, and Brinkman scores. So that is a really good mod right there. Let me write that down. That mod works perfectly. It keeps the game flowing, and you get all the different aspects of the game rolled into something that doesn't happen very often. So it doesn't affect anything, because maybe it happens once a game that you have the infield in, and you get a high ground ball where you have to roll an extra die. So it's on a 1. So on an infield in, a 1, a D6. A 1 is a out at home, and a 6 would be a safe at home. All right, so let's do that. And then with an S batter, obviously, with S batter, you have a chance for a double play. That would only be with the bases loaded, though. Yeah, S batter. Double play, bases loaded. So you'd have to get the out at home. Then you'd have to have an S batter, which there's a handful of guys like that. So that's never going to happen. K-line now. So Sutherland on at first, 1 out. the Tigers lead at 2-1. Kenny Holzman's still on the mound. Now, Kenny Holzman can go 31. How many batters has he faced? He's base 29, so he's still good. Like I said, I push my pitchers maybe a batter or two past what they recommend. If they give up hits, then I start reducing them, right? I start reducing their effectiveness, their endurance. 21, and this will be a grounder. 21 is going to be a grounder to the pitcher. He goes to second for one, back to first. Double play out of the inning. Big defensive play for the Athletics. To cut that inning short, the only one run comes in, and the Athletics here in the bottom of the eighth, they find themselves behind to the last place Detroit Tigers by a score of 2-1. It's 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Tigers. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for the Athletics. Now, this is to make up for my last video, Fall Classic, which I posted and it had no sound. I had some issues with the mic. This should not be a problem this time around. I will check it, but I did correct that. For some reason, sometimes I have some issues with the settings. That's the word I was looking for. The settings. I have some issue with the settings, and I did. So I had to go back and find what issue that was exactly, and then I corrected that. So anyway, it's Mangual leading off here against LeGros. Now, as we said, this is the bottom of the eighth. LeGros, has he reached his limit? 32. He is at 33. So if he gives up a hit, I will pull him. Okay, so Mangual against LeGros. And that's a 25, and that'll be a fly ball. Center field. Stanley to his right a couple of steps and makes the catch. 1 away. Champ Summers, the lefty. And we're going to go to the bullpen for a lefty pitcher. It's going to be Hiller, the closer. So John Hiller gets the call. Now I have to find the Tigers. What did I do with that set? I got the A's there. Oh, here they are. Okay, I got the Tigers there. All right, the Tigers. I'm looking for Hiller. You get all the players, so you get a ton of players. That's a great thing I like about this. If you're into like as played, if you're a guy who's as played like me, and some people find that boring, this game is perfect for that. It has all the seasons, has as played, so you get all the players. So we're gonna roll for Hiller on the lefty. They have a big mod, and an 18 is gonna still keep him in his A column. Lefties, remember, lefties are always facing guys that bat 400 against lefties, 350 against lefties, 300 against lefties, always, because they don't get a lot of at bats. And what teams do is kind of they stack all those left-handed hitters, right-handed hitters that hit in the 300s against lefties. So they're always facing batters that have unrealistic numbers against lefties. So anyway, here's Champ Summers, and he's a lefty hitter, and we're going to get a pinch hitter for the. It's going to be Joe Rudi. Joe Rudi's going to pinch hit. One of my favorite players of all time, Joe Rudi, hard-nosed guy. I liked all those hard-nosed guys like Toby Harrow, Bill Buckner, Joe Rudi. Those are the guys I admired when I was a kid. They seemed to play hard, and those are the guys I liked. They weren't really, it didn't look like it came easy to them, but they worked hard. I could identify with those guys. Here's Joe Rudi leading off in the bottom of the eighth, 1974, Detroit at Oakland. John Hiller, the lefty, with the pitch, 46. That's ballpark. With a 20, he's going to take us to that wildest section again. We looked at the wildest section last time, but it was. What did I do with that wildest section? Yeah, okay, here it is. So the wildest section this time is with the bases empty, so that's a little bit different. Let's do that. And that is going to be a 13 on the wildest. 13 will be a. I think I have that on the card, actually. Do I have wildest on the card? I do. Wildest. Base is empty. Pop out to shallow right field. And a collision. Uh-oh. So it's a high fly, shallow right field. It's between the first baseman, the second baseman, and the left fielder. So it's a, if I roll a 3, it's one, first baseman's injured. A 2, rather a 4, it's the second baseman, and a 5 is the right fielder. So let's roll. I use a completely different die, and it's going to be a 6, so nobody. The catch is made by the first baseman. There's a collision, but everybody gets up. Everybody's okay. And it's a pop-up to the first baseman for out number 2. So Joe Rudi pops up, and the Tigers make it look exciting out there. And here's Ted Kubiak, switch hitter, facing John Hiller, the closer. Closers went a little bit more than the typical 1 inning like they do today. Okay, this is an out. Bounce to third, charged by Rodriguez, fires in time, and that retires the side. So the A's are going to be down to their last 3 outs when they come back in the bottom of the 9th here at Oakland Alameda Coliseum. And Rudi will go out into left field. And it's going to be Kenny Holtzman is still in there. Now what I do now when I see that, when it's the decision to do I let them complete the game or not, I look at the score, I look at the hits, I get a feel for what's going on. But then I also look at the pitchers. So he pitched 40 games and he had 9 complete games. So that tells me that if I let him in, I'm okay. If I pull him, I'm okay. But in this case, he's losing, and but it's still okay to let him complete the game because that's about 10 complete games. 1 out of every 4 he completed. And he pitched 255 innings. So this is a guy. So if I see that there's a guy that only has 30 starts and 1 complete game, I'll pull him right here. All right, or he has 3 complete games and 30 starts, I'll pull him right here because he's going to have games where he's winning 3-1, and you want to be able to have him complete that game. But in this case, I'm not worried about it because he's okay. Right, anywhere from 1/4 to half, I would say, is where you find these guys that actually went longer. And then you have the outliers, right? That's where they usually are. The guys that pitch more innings, they're usually in 1/4 to half of their starts are complete games. I can let them go, and my conscience is clean. Horton leads off, top of the 9th, and boy, the Tigers would like an insurance run. Here's the pitch from Holtzman. Now, if he starts giving up hits, I'll pull him immediately. 56, and that's a check swing. The check with the first base umpire, and he rings him up. Oh boy. And Horton disagrees with that, and he's staring down at the umpire at first base, and umpire's staring right back. Holy smokes. And Horton does shaking his head as he walks back to the dugout. Here is Freehan, Bill Freehan now, the catcher. Pitch from Holtzman, and with 26 against a lefty, that's a base hit. And that's going to be it for Holtzman. All right, and here in this tight game, we're going to go to somebody who pitched 76 games and only had, how many saves did he have? 18. So he's pitching a lot of games where he's not picking up a save. Right? He didn't have 50 saves where, mostly he's pitching save games. So we're bringing in fingers because, hey, this is a tight game. And we've got a right-hander coming up. And we're going to bring in Rollie Fingers. Where are you going to roll? See what happens. 1 to 10 will be A. It's 16, so that'll be a B column. He'll have his B column as a mod there too. 110, 11, 16, and 17, 20 on the righties. Write that down. And Sharon. Dick Sharon, the righty. So we may look to the bench. Oh, we got a lot of lefties on the bench. Got a ton of lefties. Sharon's playing right field. We're going to bring in Ben Ogilvy, who will replace him in right field. So we're going to go to Ogilvy. What did I do with the... here they are. No, that's not them. I put them up against the computer. All right, so we're going to go to Ben Ogilvy, and I'll tell you a little bit about his stats for 74. 252. So anybody with over 100 at bats, I usually get a Strat-style sleeve, and I cover them up to protect them. Try to keep these guys in decent shape because he plays a lot, right? The guys with less than 100, I do not sleeve because they play sparingly, and so they're not touched very often. All right, so Ogilvy uh, played in 92 games, 250 at bats, 11 doubles, 3 triples, 4 home runs. Not a lot of power. 270 average with 34 base on balls. He will bat and then play right field. He is fast, left-handed hitter against Raleigh Fingers. So let's do it. 1 out. Top of the ninth. 2-1. Detroit. Pitch from Fingers. Sets and deals 35, and a 35 will be a fly ball right field down the line. Mangual on the run, and Mangual comes up with it. And Freehan will not tag up. Do we need a pinch runner for Freehan? He's an average runner, so he's okay. Cash, Ron Cash, another righty, and Cash was playing what position? Either he was at first base. So who do I got to be my first baseman? Oh, Norm Cash. And we're going to get Norm Cash to come in. That's the A's. Here are Norm Cash will come in, bat from the left side, and then he will stay and play first base. He is slow. Runner at first is Freehan. Cash at the plate. And Cash, 7 home runs and 150 at bats, so he would have hit, 28 home runs. Got good power against righties, especially. He has a splits home run. Against righties, that's a home run. Against lefties, and 26 as well. Against lefties, he would get it here on the 65 versus pitchers. Here's the pitch, and that is a 53. That is going to be a range play with a 4. Does that fall into the strikeout? Strike 3. Got him with the high fastball. And Norm, with a half swing, did not look good. He looked like he was full, was waiting for something else. And he swings and misses, and he strikes out. So we got 2 defensive replacements. In right field, it will be Ogilvy, and at first base, it will be Norm Cash. And let's see what happens. It's the bottom of the ninth. Hiller, he's here to close this out for the last place Tigers. Boy, this would boost their morale if they were able to beat the Oakland Athletics, the world champs, 2-time world champs in the playoffs, 3 seasons in a row, 71, 72, and 73. All right, so North leads off. And here is the pitch from John Hiller, the left-hander. Switch hitter batting righty is North, and he lines one base hit to left center field, played by Horton. And North is going to get a chance to steal with that plus sign, exactly what the doctor ordered, and it's a 1. That's a pickoff attempt. So the way I played it, that it nullifies the steal. It is a pickoff attempt. So Hiller is a lefty. That's an advantage. And he's a strong arm. That's going to be like 1-10. Holy smokes. He may get picked off at first. It's 1-12. He is out. Now, we're not going to use that. We're going to make it exciting. And he is out at first base. So Hiller picks him off. Picks off Bill North at first base. And North can't believe it. What a move by Hiller. And totally fooled North. North froze at first and then tried to get back quickly, and the tag was put on by Norm Cash. And he gets picked off, and that was the tying run. So 1 out now, and it's Bert Campaneris. All right, Bert Campaneris, right-handed hitter against the lefty Hiller, and that's a 62. Strike 3 on the curve. Hiller gets North to chase at a ball that's in the dirt, and with 2 outs, nobody on, the Athletics are down to their last out. Sal Bando, the captain of the Athletics, 22 home runs, 243 average with almost 100 base on balls, 86. And Hiller gets the sign, winds and deals, and that is going to be a 25, which will be popped up. Left side, Rodriguez back on the outfield grass. Brinkman gets called off, and that is the ball game, my friends. So the Detroit Tigers in last place beat the Oakland Athletics. Holy smokes. Laron LeGros gets the victory, 4-3. Kenny Holtzman takes the loss, 4-7. Hiller picks up his first save of the season. Can't believe that. Laron LeGros is the MVP. Offensively, Brinkman was 2 for 2 for the Tigers. For the A's, it was 2 hits for Bando, 2 for 4. Pitching wise, Holtzman pitched 8 innings and 7 hits, 2 earned runs. His ERA drops to 3.80, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Larin LeGros, 7-3, 7 hits, no earned runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, and his ERA drops to 4.02. And that's it, my friends. Tony Porter, Tabletop Baseball Digest. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Hope you enjoyed the presentation of Fall Classic Baseball. And I try to teach the game as I go. And thanks for watching. I will see you guys very soon. Take care.